Hi, everyone. And today you are in the right place at BALM Global, but you're saying, where's Nikki? Hi, I'm Michelle Sinclair Doyley. I'm the CEO of Create the Life You'd Love. And yes, you will be meeting Nikki today. However, in a totally different capacity. So, who is Nikki? Who is this woman who has been pouring into your lives for all this time? 200 episodes. Well, today we're going to find out so much more about this woman who has been inspiring you and igniting greatness in your life. Well, let's just go into a little bit about Nikki's background before we bring her on. Nikki, of course, is a force in the leadership world and in entrepreneurship. Nicky Cuesta is the founder of BALM Global. She's also the CEO of BALM. And we know that she is a purpose driven woman who has been leading boldly and building sustainably and living unapologetically and inspiring you to do the same. She is a speaker, an author, a host, a mindset coach who turns real life experiences into transformational strategy for you. Now, she was in corporate America and she left corporate America to now chart a new course in visionary leadership. And she has built initiatives like Ladies of Leadership. She leads loud and empowered to inspire tour, creating global ecosystems rooted in faith, action, and community. As BALM Global celebrates 200 episodes for that podcast, for this podcast, let us now look at the woman who is leaving a legacy in your hearts. One thing we can say, she leads loud and she helps women like all of us to rise. Nikki, welcome to your stage.
Hello, Michelle. How are you?
I am doing extremely well. How are you doing?
I am well. I am well. It's different to be on the other side of the interview, right? Usually I am the host. I am bringing in the amazing people, just changing the world one step at a time. And after our grand finale, it was amazing. You just asked me, "Hey, has someone interviewed you?" And I'm like, "No." And we came up with this amazing episode, and I am looking forward to it because I don't know what's going to be asked, and I'm just ready for all of it. So thank you so much, Michelle.
Well, it is my pleasure. You know something, when somebody has poured so much out into so many people, then the truth is that people want to know who is the woman behind all of this. And so it is a pleasure to be doing this with you. And so, Nikki, who is Nikki Cuesta? Who are you? What makes you you?
Wow, Nicky Cuesta is just a little girl inside living her little girl dream to just move in ways that she never thought she could. Just a little bit about my story and my upbringing. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. A lot of people know that with my story. But there was something tragic that happened in my life that I didn't have the guts or the time to really share when I was a young little girl until this year, until I put it in print for the very first time in our Me versus Me book, which is titled, and I just want to share the title with you real quick. It is called The And I should have had it ready, but I'm not chapter 1 here. I'm chapter 10. The power and the price of surviving what should have broken me. Um, Really, it's hard to tell because I haven't even told it on a stage or any platform of just being violated at a very young age. Um, and it being repeated a little bit older, started at 3, then again at 7. And it's something that I held on for so long. And I never let it really determine what I was going to do or how I was going to serve in the world. It actually gave me fuel and strength. And then becoming a mom, and having to have that conversation with my son, just, making sure he's good, that he respects women, that he is that model gentleman. And it was a really tough thing to go through, but I didn't really have to revisit that until this year, which was really hard, but definitely a release. And then I just went on with my life, with a large family. My mom's side of the family had, my aunts and uncles are the Brady Bunch, and on my biological dad's side, they're the Brady Bunch plus 2. And all of them had children, right? Most of them had children. And I just had about 30 plus cousins and really just never knew where to find my footing. Like, who was I going to become? What was I going to do? Then very early on, in my teenage years, leaving high school 3 weeks before I was ready to graduate, because of just one um, mistake. I had a fight during a basketball game. A lot of people don't know that I'm actually I played basketball throughout my school years as a power forward, and it was just an unnecessary altercation. And I had 3 days of suspension and just got comfortable in that space. Fast forward about a year and a half later, I decided I wanted a new place to go to. I wanted to really hone in on what Nicky wanted to do. What was my purpose? What was my calling? Trying to find my spiritual home, trying to really see, what are my gifts and talents. And I decided to just up and move. I had no kids at the time. I was 19 years old. And I said, I'm going to go to Philadelphia because my mom had moved the year before. And in doing that, it had totally changed my life. The greatest decision I've ever made for myself was to really position myself for growth. I didn't know where God was leading me to, but I knew that blindly I was going to find it, and I was going to find it through his faith. So that's just a little bit about my journey before coming here, just all the ups and downs, being in corporate for 14 years, loving what I did, soaking in every information, and then finally saying, hey, this is not for me. God has more purpose for my life, and really checking what that would look like. Became a notary and said bye-bye. After a couple months after that, I had started this YouTube channel called Building a Leadership Mindset, and it sucked with one video and really nothing else because, I was in that imposter syndrome mindset, like, who's going to listen to me? And then I decided to take a chance and really introduce what really building a leadership mindset is to an organization. That was my first rejection ever to what I was building. Yeah, I could not lead as a leader because of my lifestyle, who I was married to. And that was the biggest blessing God gave me, because I had no ill will against their decision. I absolutely loved and adored that organization, continue to do so. But God said, it's not for here. This is not the place that building a leadership mindset has to be built. You have to go into the marketplace. You have so much more to give. And I just asked him for community and guide the way. And I just walked every step. And the following year, that was November 2021, in March 2022, I turned 40, right? And my other little girl dream of wanting to become an author kicked off. It just started trickling in. By April, I met my publisher. By May, I was talking on my first speaker stage at a speaker competition. June, I hosted a podcast with my publisher. July, I was thrown into building my podcast. August, I did it all audio, panting right here in this actual studio. This is my home office in my basement where my original background is at. And it's just emotional to be having this interview after 200 episodes and being able to do this, because what you don't know is that I was at the studio a moment ago and the power went off. And God knows what he's doing. He wanted me to be in a place of comfort where it all started, because if I never took that chance in getting in that room and resurrecting this podcast, we would have never hit 200 interviews and counting, because we're actually at 203 ending 2025.
Wow. So you have taken us through, I would say, a sprint of your life to where you are right now. What I want us to do is we can slow down just a little bit, because there must have been a point in time where, because yes, we know that, you moved and all of those things, but what happened when you chose to be who you are today? Who were you before? And what was the process of choosing to be who you are today? Because there's somebody
Yeah,
who's
so who I
listening
was
to this
before is
interview and is saying, for me, wow, Nikki did so many things. She did them so great. Everything just happened. But who were you after being abused, after being rejected, after the fight? Who were you?
yeah,
That
I was
woman can draw inspiration.
yeah, thank you for that question. I was just a dreamer, someone who was trying to figure it out, someone who was trying to survive, all the things around me, trying to be that person, that savior, that um uh the one that just wanted more, not just for myself, but for everyone around me. And I'm going to get emotional because just thinking about it, right? Um
Mm-hmm.
you just never know, like it was hard. It was hard. Just really finding my voice. I a lot of people don't know this, but I'm truly an introvert. I am such an observer first. You have to really truly win my trust. But when I have that conversation with you, it's like we've known each other forever and we're attached at the hip. And that's really what I've always looked for, is really true, authentic relationships. I've been blessed to have, many friends, that have this longevity in my life, that been part of, some of the storms. But I was broken inside. I was broken because I didn't know that I was worth everything that I know I'm worth today. As far as my mind, my heart, how I command my presence in every room and just know, like, hey, I'm here. But once upon a time, I wasn't. I was just lost, trying to just figure it all out. And as I was going through the journey, it wasn't easy. I had a lot of loss. One of the biggest loss in that transition, when I was just hitting my peak at 22, I lost my adopted dad. I was blessed to have three dads in my life. The one that birthed me, which I didn't get to meet until I was about 14. It took me a while to build that relationship, but I gave it a shot. To every side of the story, there's two sides, right? So he told me his. I decided to forgive him, and now we have a great relationship. He lives in Puerto Rico. I call him every so often. I have visited him, and I gained, my family from that side to, build relationships there. But my adopted dad, who gave me his last name, was there since day one, and he unfortunately battled with alcoholism. He wasn't abusive, very just to himself, like that was just his thing, but never he never faulted on being a dad, and God forbid anyone ever told him that we were not his kids. So losing him in 2004, which led my brother, the only brother I had at the time, led him to having to deal with, the last ends of, just getting him to rest, making sure he laid everything out the way my dad asked, took him to Puerto Rico, laid him to rest. But I also found out that my brother was also battling an addiction, which was hard because that's when the journey also began of me becoming big sister now and supporting him through his life challenges while I'm still in a relationship. I'm about to be a mom at this time. And because of the distance, it was so hard, and, being there for my mom through this journey that my brother was going through, and just trying to be that strong one. Again, trying to be the fixer, and making sure everyone was okay and he was settled, and, getting those 3 o'clock phone calls, collect calls, and being at peace when he was locked up, unfortunately, because I knew he wasn't on the streets. I knew he wasn't, doing what he was not supposed to be doing. I knew he was a bit safer. But that's not the way to live. So fast forward in 2015, he was due for parole, and we decided to bring him to Philadelphia so that we can be with him, so that we can try to, you know, help him through that journey. Still, while I'm trying to be a realtor, I'm going to school, I'm, trying to graduate and doing all these things. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2018, overdose. And that
Mm,
was the turning point of my life. Being in depression for about 6 to 8 months, really, again, giving up on everything that I was working towards, just going back to existing, doing my day to day.
mhm.
And then he came to me one night and said, "Keep going. Life is too short." And in 2019, that's when the journey began to start putting the pieces together to figure out what my purpose was, and, how I was going to help people get through any type of strategy, any type of goal. And I started walking the walk and talking the talk and doing all those things, that I didn't want to go on this journey alone. So 2020, 2022, all of that just came together. But that was my turning point, were those two
Mm,
losses.
mm. Thank you for sharing that. Very often when people see people like you, Nikki, they figure everything, you have it together, and they don't know the tears and the pain that go into finally being able to know what your God given purpose is. And so, for the person who is listening, and you can identify with the tears and the pain that Nikki has been through, then the BALM global community is one that is for you, because Nikki has been where you are. And now she's going to take you to the other side that's just waiting on your yes, right? Wow, Nikki, thank you for sharing so authentically, so from the heart, because I know that that took a lot. So now you figured out your purpose, and you you're now purposeful in what you're doing. What specifically led you to start BALM Global and this podcast, which has now reached 203 episodes? What was a catalyst?
Wow. I didn't, yeah, I didn't know that any of this was going to happen, to be honest, Michelle. I didn't know how it was going to look. I didn't know how it was going to pan out, who was going to be part of it. all I knew is that I wanted peace of mind. I had been working in corporate, I've had these losses, and I know that there's more to life. Just every lunch hour with, one of the coworkers I started that company with, which, she has been a sister in Christ. She has been just an amazing person to just listen to me every day on what I wanted to do. Like, I want to impact women. This is how I want to do it. I want to bring a community together. I want to create a safe space, a sisterhood. And she heard it. I don't know if she was tired of hearing it.
Uh-huh.
But, it's something that, again, I dreamed about. And that was my dream phase. That was my dream phase. How was it going to look? But reality wasn't that. Reality was still trying to figure out, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to
Mhm.
be that role model for my son? How am I going to, you know, just gain the authority to be able to be that person people can call out to? And at first it was just, okay, let me be my own boss. That's all I wanted to be. I didn't want anybody to tell me what
Mhm.
to do, what day I could take off, who I
Mhm.
who I can hang out with when. And that was really the catalyst. That was the start. It's just me being my own boss, having control of my own time. And I had been a realtor at the time, but found out very quickly that that wasn't my jam. Um, love the idea, just didn't love the paperwork. Like, I couldn't see myself just doing that. I
Mhm.
needed to be more hands on with the people, like be in, with them in community, in their face, just saying, hey, I'm going to hold your hand along this journey. Like, the, real estate wasn't that for me.
Mhm.
So at this time, we're smacked with COVID. I start this YouTube channel. It's already sitting down. I get into a travel club um, company, and now I'm on vacation all of 2021, right? I leave corporate in October of 2020, become a notary. So as a notary, I am, I'm going to people's homes, I'm meeting new people, I have my time. Like, a good day for me was 9 to 12, did 4 signings, collected about, anywhere from 2,500 to 3,600 a week. And it was good. It was amazing. I love what I did. And then people were asking me, Nikki, how do you become a notary? I see you traveling. I see you doing this. And I'm like, okay. So I create a template. I said, here's the website. Here is, the things you need. And that actually turned into just God stopping me in my tracks one day and saying, hey, people are seeking your information. They're seeking your expertise.
Mm.
Like, what are you going to do about it? They don't want an email. They want the meat and potatoes. I never thought I was going to be a coach, even though I had been doing corporate training for the past,
Mhm.
12 years at the time. I'm like, okay, so I literally, Michelle, no lie, took everything that I had, all of
Mhm.
my experience, and in 48 hours, I built my Kickstart Notary program. Didn't think
Whoa!
I was going to be a coach, locked in my first 5 clients to date.
Hold on a
48
second.
hours.
48
Yes.
hours. So, what I get from that part of the story is that there's somebody that who's listening right now, and you've been planning and planning and planning and plotting and planning and planning and plotting, and you just recognize, hey, this is not, you want me to be more, Lord. Let me go do it, and you just did it. Boom. So,
Did it.
could whoever
Just
is
did it.
listening right now, could you please just take away all the planning and the planning and planning and just, if you know the Lord is leading you to do something, just do it. Wow. Okay. So 48 hours, you've now
Mhm.
done this thing, and tell us how it transformed from that to where you are now.
Yeah. So when I built the system and I started improving it every new group of notary clients that I had, I'm like, well, notary is a business, right? So I
Mhm.
graduated business school. So how can I help entrepreneurs or women that have the desire to become entrepreneurs really set themselves up, not just the way I did it, but different ways that they can do it based
Mhm.
on their industry, based on their passion. based on their love and their core values, like taking everything into consideration. So fast forward, in September of the same year, 2022, I said, I'm going to build a sisterhood. I need a community of women that I can share all of this knowledge with because I don't want to die with it. In
Mm.
October, I was given a 5-minute speaking opportunity to share that vision. And from that room, we locked in our first 12 members for Ladies of Leadership that started November 4th of 2022 and has now grown to 50 plus women. I think throughout the life of Ladies of Leadership, we have served about 110 women in the last 3 years.
Ooh.
Um, so, yeah, I didn't know. Again, something else that was not on the plan, just walking by faith and really picking up on all of the clues God was laying down for me, just paying attention to my surroundings, what the needs were. And again, how can I add that value? That was the goal.
Mm.
How can I just be that 2, 3, 4% of someone else's journey, and just guiding them along the way, with everything I have been able to soak up.
One of the things I recognize, Nikki, is that we can often start out here in terms of the concept that we have for our businesses, and we end up all the way over here. Where did you start out? What was your original vision? And what has it evolved to become today? And how is it different?
Yeah, no, oh my goodness. So the original vision was always just community and empowering, right? What were the
Mhm.
channels that was going to lead? Was every room that I stepped into was another opportunity, whether it was the podcast, whether it was becoming my first time author, whether it was joining an anthology, whether it was someone getting, interviewing me on their podcast or getting me to speak at their event. Everything actually landed into place. I think the vision of impact has always been the overall. And I don't think I've really like expanded besides all of the extra opportunities that came in. I'm
Mhm.
closing out 2025 with, I believe, 12 recognitions that I had no knowledge of ever or anticipation of getting. I've,
Wow.
received award-winning authorships, award-winning speaker, winning a speaker competition,
Wow.
leadership awards, just appreciation awards, and being in front covers of magazines or in the Anointed newsletter, being part of two boards, one my own, as well as Izzy's Legacy, launching. Listen to this, because
Mhm.
balm is like lip balm, launching my own lip balm line and lipstick line. Everything just really fell into place. And I just have to give God all of the glory because the downloads that come in, it was just that same model. Just do it, go for it. What's the worst that can happen? I'm betting on me all day. I'm betting on my ladies all day. That's just my mindset. And that's what building a leadership mindset is. What more can you do? What extra step, extra mile can you go to really add the value and the essence to what you're producing, and really what you're putting out there. And that has always been the goal. And I couldn't have done it without my team and my community. Like, they have been the number one cheerleaders on this journey, from my publisher to my mentors and coaches. Um, and just it's just been beautiful. But everything fell into place so effortlessly because of the obedience. Now, that's still to say that it wasn't rough. It was rough along the way. The arrows definitely came, the challenges. There were moments where I just cried right here by myself because I didn't know what the next move was. But I
I
always
love
say
the
that
fact that you're going there. I love the fact that you're going there, right? What was probably one of the biggest mistakes that you made early on out that you
yeah.
wondered if you would ever recover from?
Um, the biggest mistake was probably taking a moment just to really to grow the community was not at the very beginning was not vetting out year we were about to hit year one, and not vetting out some of the newest members because now I'm networking. Now I'm thinking, everybody wants to be part of this
Mm,
community, but really not being discerning, just for one or two individuals, nothing major. Like I still love them to pieces, but they weren't what the culture that we were building, and being able to see that and not forcing that not pushing that on the person just because I feel like they need what we have, but
mm,
knowing that they're going to work what we have. And I think that was the first and biggest mistake that I can like really pinpoint now is I don't want to serve women that don't want to serve themselves. I really want to be that anchor with them. I want to,
mhm,
it's a partnership. Our community is very different than any other networking community because we give true coaching at a community rate, which is the biggest thing that we want the women to thrive and really, own their, whether it's their mistakes, their power, their voice. They need to own it all, and
mhm,
be able to create that impact. And we're not what we were. We're not who we were, right? And
mm,
every level that we, level of success that we reach, there are different levels of challenges that we have. So really the first, yeah, that would be probably is just vetting out. So you can't just say, hey, I'm going to be part of Ladies of Leadership because I'm going to go on this website and I'm going to click here. No, we
mm,
want to get to know you. We want relationships over transactions. Everything else will come. But we
mm.
really want that desire and that motivation that you want to take those next steps and know that you have a full community behind you. So, yeah.
Mhm. I can understand the importance of that because I myself have had a situation where I had someone in my community that really was not an excellent fit. And it almost could have destroyed what was being created. So I understand the importance of that. So for the person who's listening right now and you're building your community, please do take heed to what Nikki just said. So that was your biggest quote unquote mistake. And persons look at you, and yes, we would have heard some of the challenges that you would have had early on out, but what are some of the things that you've had to overcome day by day to keep on going with BALM Global?
Yeah, day by day, we have to make sure that we're bringing value, right? That's the biggest thing. How do you keep your community engaged and keep coming back and keep renewing and keep knowing that if they stay close to the fire, that they're going to hit those goals and they're going to meet that. But another thing is really, um, challenges come up all the time. So a lot of things that we overcame. One of the biggest one is that it's our She Leads retreat, which we're excited to have um, this August. It's something that has been actually on our board to do since 2023, and in 2024, unfortunately, we faced global uh, um, a global weatherization in Puerto Rico where we were going to land, and that could have been a downfall for BALM Global and what we stand for, not being able to risk any of the ladies being placed in a position where um, where they didn't know the language and electricity was unpredictable,
Mm,
and stuff like that. But in facing up to that and speaking with our community and just saying, hey, this is what happened, protection first, safety first, to know that I had a group of women that says, Nikki, it doesn't matter where you go, we go. Um, where you go, we go. So overcoming that, having to, bring that type of news to a community when, as an entrepreneur, you're building retreats, you're building events, and things could go really south really fast, but keeping the integrity,
mhm,
that things happen and being bold and brave to really share that is really important to our culture. And again, what we have created. And then another thing is our taking off the shades. That was a long, lengthy project, in trying to get sponsorship, which we did. We were able to lock in Top Fox for that. It actually delayed the project, right? So putting more um, detailed um, schedules, right? Abiding by the schedule, submission dates, all those things. So I think those were the two biggest learning lessons as a
Mhm.
community, as a business, as BALM Global, as we're building BALM Global Publishing. We're excited. We launched 3 books. We definitely had the team. We definitely, stretched our SOP and just got it just fine tuned right in time for 2026. So these are things that could have tainted the BALM Global name. Like I could have literally crawled under a rock, threw in the towel, and said, you know what? I just can't do this. It's too much. But you know what? Champions adjust. And when a true leader owns up to it, fixes it, and with their integrity, they make still things happen. So I'm just grateful for being able to have, that from God that gives me that power to be able to do that and say, hey, we're human. We're gonna still get it done. So yeah, those are, some
I love what you said a while ago. You said champions adjust.
things.
And I'm sure that that is one of the things that you would be talking to your women about and inspiring them to take on. What are the other core pillars of leadership that you encourage women to develop while they when they come into your community at BAM Global?
Yeah. So the first thing is to come in with an open heart, a leadership servant leadership heart, um, to really soak up the information, right? To use the resources applied, but to
Mhm,
know that everyone is at a different pace. That you are not to compare yourself to anyone in the community or in your world, period, because that can lead to a downward spiral, really, when you're
mhm.
really trying to build and you're really looking at like competition, comparison, like that's just not something that you see in our community. And our ladies know that from day one. Like we're your cheerleaders, we are giving you all the resources we have. I love that the community of women that we serve come in ready to receive all that. And really, there's one thing about intimidation that I want to talk about, because
Mhm.
intimidation is not something that exists, right? Or should not be something that exists. I feel that some of us as women, and we see other successful women, what we should be doing is being attracted to that and seeing how we can get to that space, but not
Mhm.
get to that space how they did it, get to that space our way with our splash on it, right? I'm not the first one that started a podcast. I'm sure I'm not the first woman that hit 200 interviews or episodes. The fact
Mhm.
is that I just did it. I enjoyed the process, and you know what? Someone's gonna do it right after me. So just know
Mhm.
that your time is your time and now is your time, right? A lot of things, a lot of our one lighters is one, make it count. That's every second, right? Every moment. Another one is commanding our presence, and just build leaders globally. Most of our women that we serve are coaches, and they either do the same as I do, different levels. And I love that. And I love to support that. Some people say, well, why would you build other women that's doing your thing? And I just truly
Why
believe
would you
that there are,
build the competition?
yes,
Mhm.
yes. No, I'm building my sister friends. I am building my business besties. I am building women that are going to empower and slay every area. One, we're all living in different parts of the country. Two, we all have a special, unique um,
Mhm.
purpose, right? And I am for supporting each of those purposes, whether it's in the same areas. I can't serve everyone. I wish I could. I can't. But I know my ladies that are bringing these things to life can serve. So my first thing,
Mhm.
like when I go into an event or something of that nature, I'm not thinking about only Nicky Cuesta or BALM Global. Guess who I'm thinking about? I think about every lady who's in the
Mhm.
membership or people that are on my resource list that can definitely you know, make magic together. It does not have to be me always. I'm still serving at the highest when I connect two other individuals together to make it happen. Because guess what? It's still happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so as you spoke about all the wonderful things that BALM Global is about, I just wondered, what are the exciting things that you have on the horizon for 2026 to support all of these wonderful women who are already in your community, or the woman who's looking right now and is on the fence and saying, should I? What are some of the things that are going to be coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things that we just launched, actually, we had our first info session last Wednesday, and that's our blueprint, our path to profit blueprint, alongside with our CRM access, which is not just giving the roadmap to what the next 12 months could look like for you, but also giving you the tools and support that you need to actually live them out. So many
Mm,
times, we get the blueprint, but we don't have them two together. And that's really where the magic happens, where once you receive this blueprint and our support, we're like right there and we're building, building, building. And then, in like months, 30 days, 60 days, there's always a new level. So that's one of the biggest things, is really taking someone through that process. We're also on tour. So we are super excited
on
about the Empower
tour. Where are you
Tour.
touring?
So we are heading this year to Houston, Texas, and to I believe North Carolina, South Carolina, and I think those are the two right now. So Empower to
Mm,
Inspire Texas is in May. Those are already set. We are excited. The biggest initiative for that is because we're going to all 50 states, is that we're looking for speakers. If you want to hit the BALM Global stage and be a part of our journey, we would love, again, to give you the opportunity to do that and just share that Empower to Inspire model that we have. And that's to dream it, build it, elevate it, right? First, we dream about it.
mm.
I hope we can happen right through the building it process, and so many others that I know serve at that capacity. So this is a group effort. So we're looking to shine the lights on so many entrepreneurs throughout the country, and looking for collaborations and partnerships through the process. So that's a big initiative, as well as launching our Youth Rising
So
nonprofit.
just 1 second, Nikki, because as you're speaking about it, I'm starting to see some of the challenges that you're solving for your community. So I'm seeing where there are women who want to get on stages, and you're creating this opportunity to get not just on virtual stages, but also on on in-person stages where they're touching and feeling their audience. So as you continue to speak about what's happening for BALM Global in 2026 and beyond, right? Can you share with us what is a challenge, and then how that particular solution is going to be solving that challenge, so the woman who is listening can say, oh yes, Nikki's going to solve that for me. Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. So everything that we have planned, we solve so many different problems, right? But the main problem is to just get it done, right? First, it starts with a dream. So if you're that dreamer, you're still have the idea in your head, you're ready to birth it, but you just don't know how. Guess what? You're going to walk away with the tools to do that in that dream it
Mhm.
model, right? So that it becomes a reality, and you can plainly see that is doable. In the build it, right? Some people like to not give all of the goodies away, but we do have the how to models, right? The
Mhm.
actual tools needed to make it happen, to build it. So you're walking away with that. And finally, if you have been in business, whether a year to 5 years, you're still kind of stuck, or you've reached a plateau and now you're looking to scale, we're going to give you the elevated model, maybe some concepts that you have not seen before, or in a different perspective. So we're solving all of those problems throughout this tour.
Mm, that sounds absolutely excellent, because I know that a lot of women entrepreneurs, as you said, we have this dream, and if we're not careful, we get stuck right there in the dream, and we don't know how to actually progress to from the dream to the reality. But what you have shared certainly shows that you have thought through the entire process, and you having been through the process, right? certainly equips you to know certainly help, not just in terms of the tools, I'm sure, but even in terms of the mindset and the real support that people need to get there, right?
Yeah.
And so if you had to, let's go back now to the fact that you are celebrating 203 episodes, right? I want you to say, if you had to summarize um, everything into one mission statement, one mission driven statement, what would that be for BAM and for the podcast?
Yeah, for the for just BALM as a whole, and specifically for BALM Global Podcast, this has been the mission to bring everyone's stories so that they can see and relate to the different individuals and get the tips that they need, or that motivation and inspiration to just take a step. I have, I'm not going to say selfishly, but very intentionally created this podcast, not just for the viewers, but I too go back and rewatch episodes, because some of my guests are either long term business partners, or they're new people that I just met, like yourself, Michelle. We connected a couple months ago. We hit it off instantly. Um, we were able to bring you on and celebrate. And that is the purpose for me to stay connected with individuals, but also let the world be connected to these stories and relate, and giving everyone the opportunity. So I know that was a long mission statement, but it's really just to keep the momentum going about that, getting it done and building that leadership mindset.
Mm. And as we're coming to a close, I know that you talk a lot about leading loud. What does that mean at this stage of your journey?
Yeah, leading loud just came to me last year when I decided to sign up for the Prospera TV network with Elena Rodriguez, who is the CEO and founder of Besitos Beauty, who has launched um, our Lady Boss Balm and our Dare to Lead collection. And
Mm-hmm.
in that, I noticed, I did some digging and found out that we have been shut down for so long. Our voices coming into the space of networking and seeing a lot of my mentors and coaches. And it's a lot of masculinity around it. I think the femininity needs to come in as women
Mm-hmm.
really lead out, using their voice, and making the impact, and know that they can, and they will, and they should.
So, what
Right.
does masculine leadership look like versus feminine leadership? And I asked this question because a couple of days ago, one of someone that I respect a lot, right, another coach, was talking about having a conversation with a woman who is in corporate, and she was feeling so frustrated because she felt as though she would have to take on more masculine leadership traits in order to be successful. So, how do we as women lead and not lose our femininity? How does that happen? And lead
Yeah,
loud at the same time.
you just have to be authentically yourself and command that presence. How do you do that? You just open up your mouth, you tell your story, you share it, you keep showing up. It's nothing big where we're like having to be like obnoxiously loud, but we need to know that people need to hear us and what we have to say. And we lead loud by showing up in every capacity. So the difference between that is that, this is, for what I see from the outside in, is that I see more men dominating these stages, dominating these events. And when I say dominating, I mean they're just, they have the numbers there. And we want to change that, because I actually, when I wrote my first book, Building a Leadership Mindset, and this is another reason why I started Ladies of Leadership, was that because only um I don't know what the numbers are. I think only 8% of women sit in a CEO position. based
Mm.
on the Fortune 500. That is only 42 women out of 500. And I know well over thousands upon thousands of powerful, inspirational, motivational women that just are not seen in this space. But if I can create the stages and bring them along,
Mhm.
guess what? We can lead loud together. And that's really the overall mission of BALM Global and Ladies of Leadership.
All right, so I have one final question for you. If BAM Global were a message to the next generation of women leaders, what would it say?
Yes, the message would just always say what we've been saying for 3 years and counting. And it's just get it done, just do it, and make it count. It doesn't get simpler than that. I can't deviate from those messages.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Nikki, you have done such a phenomenal job with BAM Global and with the podcast 203 episodes. Again, congratulations. We are all proud with you. For all the persons who are listening and saying, this sounds as though this is my community, then get in touch. Get in touch with this wonderful community that has been created just for you. Nikki, it was a pleasure having you on your podcast.
Thank you so much
Continue
for
to
having
lead
me.
us and inspire us all over again, but just from a different place. Thank you so much, Nikki. And may God
Thank you
bless
so much. This was absolutely phenomenal. It was amazing to just be on the hot seat. After 200 episodes, which is a huge milestone, and sometimes we don't take the time to even honor that. I'm always that servant leader, right? Honoring those that have bring their stories. But thank you for the opportunity to really share minds and really reintroduce myself as we enter 2026 and what the next 200 will look like. So thank you. I appreciate it. It was amazing.
you. It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. All right, everyone. So thank you for tuning in to this podcast. And until next time, when you'll see Nikki again being the interviewer, we wish you all the best.
Yes. Thank you. And make it count.
Make
Bye,
it
everyone.
count.